Romeo Stelvio is stunning. It is probably the prettiest compact SUV on the planet, and it looks right at home on the cobblestone streets of Italy or in America. It is so rare and so pretty that it will make any driver look like they have taste. But beauty begs the question, what is it worth? And does it come at the cost of anything else? This is the Stelvio. I'm Alanis King, and that is what we are figuring out today. So let's go for a drive and stick around for the end of this video to get this Stelvio's full report card. The Stelvio is Alfa Romeo's first SUV, and it actually hasn't been around that long. It debuted at the 2016 Los Angeles Auto Show, and it drove on stage after this really weird spoken word poem rap thing about how life is boring and the Stelvio is so not boring that you'll need a cold shower from it, which is just a really odd thing to say.
OMG, an SUV from Italy, 500 HP, princess, red dress, hell yes, hashtag blessed, pure power, rush hour, damn, I need a cold shower.
2016 was absolutely wild, but I also feel like every year is wild. We just don't realize it until about 10 years later. Anyway, the Stelvio was meant to be a compact crossover, but a really sporty one. And this was immediately obvious because of the Stelvio's name and its connection to the Alfa Romeo Giulia sports sedan. Stelvio is actually the name of a really famous mountain pass in Italy, known to be a great driving road. And the Stelvio's connection to the Giulia is its platform, the Giorgio platform, and it is meant to prioritize 50-50 weight distribution and low center of gravity. In the Giulia Quadrifoglio, this platform is amazing, and I am really interested to see how it goes in the Stelvio. There was also a 500 horsepower Stelvio Quadrifoglio, which shared an engine with one of my favorite cars ever, the beautiful, wonderful, amazing Giulia Quad. Some people might say that that V6 is Ferrari's F154 V8 engine with 2 cylinders cut off, but I will get yelled at in the comments if I say that, so we're gonna leave it right there. Unfortunately, the Stelvio Quadrifoglio and Giulia Quadrifoglio left the American market after 2024. So now we just have the normal cars with about half the power. This first generation Stelvio has been on the market for quite some time, and the word is that the second generation Stelvio will debut soon, perhaps for the 2026 model year. And CarScoops has reported that an electric Stelvio Quadrifoglio from the next generation could make 986 horsepower. But it is not 2026 yet. This is a 2025 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce, and that means we have a turbocharged 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that makes 280 horsepower and 306 pound-feet of torque. That power goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission to all 4 wheels because this car is all-wheel drive. Some interesting things to note about this engine bay is we have this front strut tower brace to make it stiffer and better. We also have a really visible turbocharger right here. And something that's cool about this is this engine is really compact actually, and this car also fits a V6. So if you were to take this air intake off, you would have a ton of room to work in here. One thing that is really weird about this engine bay is that the hood release is super flimsy. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio, much like the Giulia, has a presence. This is not a big car, especially by American standards, but it looks really good. The front end is really aggressive and hawk-like. It's got those squinty headlights and a beak of a grille. And then you get inside and a graphic lights up on the instrument cluster with an outline of the front of the car. This car wants you to think it is important, and it wants you to think you are important when you're in it. And it honestly works. And something that makes me feel important is when people go, Alanis, I love that City Chevrolet shirt. And I'm like, yeah, me too. My partner Homefield Apparel has all kinds of really cool stuff like this, and you probably see me wearing it in a ton of videos. And you can get any of it 20% off with my code Alanis20. There's classic NASCAR merchandise, Indy 500 merchandise, or if you like college sports apparel, you can get that too. And all of it is 20% off your first order with the code Alanis20. Alfa also has some stunning paint colors. There's Misano Blue, Alfa Rosso Red, and this Verde Fangio Metallic. Now the blue and the red are $700 American extra on this car, but the green is $2,200, and it is stunning. But I should tell you, if you want this green paint, you should look at the car you're buying first, when it is actually on the lot out in the sun, and you should see what the orange peel is like on the top coat. Because while this tone is so pretty, I look at it and there's so much orange peel on the clear coat that I would be kind of upset if I paid $2,200 and had that. Since we're already talking about options, I should run you through the rest of them. This Stelvio starts at $48,995 American, and it has plenty of added extras. We have the $2,200 green paint, a $700 preferred and active driver assistance package with lane keep assist, highway assist, traffic sign recognition, traffic jam assist, driver attention alert, active blind spot assist, a hands-free power liftgate, cargo compartment cover, and more, a $1,500 sunroof, a $2,000 Veloce package with a gloss black body kit, a front strut tower brace, a limited slip differential, power adjustable seat bolsters, an 8-way power adjustable front passenger seat, a sport rear diffuser, and gloss red brake calipers with white lettering, and $1,750 20-inch 5-hole aluminum wheels. That brings the total price of this Stelvio to $59,140 American. Woo! I have a lot of opinions about the price of this car, and I think they're pretty nuanced. Starting with the green paint. It is stunning. The base coat looks great, but the top coat has so much orange peel that I would really struggle to pay $2,200 if my paint came out like that. Instead, I would go for the Misano Blue at $700. The $700 package with a bunch of driver assistance features is great, but I also don't think it should be an optional package at this price point. This car starts at $50,000. It should have all of those features included, even if you have to raise the base price by $700. People aren't going to really notice at this price point, and it's better than making them pay extra. The $2,000 Veloce package makes a lot of sense because it gives you a sporty Stelvio in a market where the Stelvio Quadrifoglio no longer exists. But what I don't recommend is these $1,700 wheels, because while everyone is obsessed with these 5-hole rotary wheels on Alfas, every single Stelvio I saw in the configurator had them, so I don't really understand paying $1,700 extra for a different genre of the same wheel. The last main option is the $1,500 sunroof, and I think it really elevates the elegance of this interior, so I'm okay with that. But overall, I think the hard thing about this car is that it's a $60,000 car with a $40,000 interior. This is a perfectly fine interior. I like the seats, they're comfortable. Overall, there's nothing just offensive about it. There's no piano black. It looks nice in here, but it doesn't look $60,000. A lot of this stems from the type of black material used, which in my opinion is a very Dodge and Chrysler black material. It is this snake skin plasticky looking material, which honestly when I hit it does not sound that hard and that plastic, but it looks like it. And when you have that all over the interior, it was just overused about 20 years ago. And so now when you put it in a car, you look at it and you go, ooh, that looks cheap. Another negative we have in the dated category is the rear view mirror. Oh my, it has this large, thick black border around it, and that makes it look really old and really cheap. Another thing that is really important for the livability in this car is the infotainment screen. You touch this infotainment screen, it takes like a second to respond. Also, I tried to hook my phone up via Bluetooth. That should be a very easy thing to do, but every time I touched the screen, I started reorganizing the home screen or clicking the wrong thing. I still can't tell you how you hook your phone up with Bluetooth because it was luck that I got to the right screen. A couple of good things on the dated side though, if you have a 12-volt little adapter thing that you use to charge your phone in your car circa 2012, boom baby, it fits right there. And if you want to plug in an aux cord, boom baby, right there. In addition to that, you have USB-A plugs and USB-C plugs. So really, you cover several decades in terms of the plugs in this car. The last thing I want to talk about in the front seat before I move to the back seat is this silver trim that exists here in place of piano black, which is lovely. I talk about it every single time I run into piano black. It's nasty, it gets grease, smudges, dirt, everything on it, and to replace it with something else is great because you're going to be less prone to nastiness and less prone to scratching. Now, one issue is there is piano black on these dials and on the shifter, and so when your nasty hands touch it, they make a lot of marks, and ew, I'm looking at my own marks right now and they're gross. The back seat of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio is pretty tight, I'm not gonna lie, but it also has all of the comfort features that you should get in a $60,000 car. I have seat heaters and I have vents and I have USB-A plugs for my phone. I do not have my own climate control back here, but this panoramic roof makes it feel very light and tall and airy and kind of tricks me into thinking I have more space than I do until I remember how close my knees are to the seat in front of me. We have now reached my favorite part of the day, which is how many Atlantises can fit in this Alfa Romeo Stelvio's trunk. And can Atlantis lock the keys in there? Very scientific. Oh. That cargo cover makes it a little tricky, doesn't it? Okay, without the cargo cover, we are at a solid 4 Atlantises, and all 4 of them can lock the keys in the trunk. It's time to drive the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce. And it's not that Veloce, it's not that fast, but it's fine. I mean, we have 280 horsepower, so obviously in a compact SUV like this, you're not just going to rip really fast with that much power, but it's all right. I would say something that I noticed immediately when I got in this car was where I sat in relation to the dashboard and the driver instrument cluster. It's actually really interesting. I'm on the lowest seating setting right now, and I probably look decently tall. That's because the dashboard is so far below me in this car that to see anything, I have to look down. And I'm a kind of person who I really care about ergonomics. I care about having an ergonomic office chair. I care about ergonomics in cars and stuff like that. I do not want to be bending my head down like that to be able to see what's on my instrument cluster, what speed I'm going, my turn signals, everything like that. But I have to do that in this car because this seat is just so high up. And I will say that if you're on the taller side, there is probably a limit to how tall you can be to drive this car. I'm 5'8½", so I have a decent amount of room. But just seeing other people in the driver's seat of this car, I would say 6'3" is probably your top limit on height for driving this car. You will just be so close to the ceiling and potentially touching your head on the ceiling if you are a tall person that you really need to check that out before you get in the car, because for some reason the seating position is just high and I have to look down, and it is something that you have to get used to look down to be able to see stuff. And I like to see what I'm doing right in front of me, because when I'm out here on this road and I'm talking to y'all and I'm driving, I like to be able to see my speed and what I am doing and making sure everything is safe. And it's hard to do that in this car just because I have to look so far down. Oh, wow, I didn't take that corner very fast at all, and there was some serious Tyler squealing and just understeer. From a logistics perspective, when driving this car, there are a couple of things that happen. One, the paddles are very large, but they're also really in the way of your turn signals. So when you're driving down the road and you're turning on your turn signals, you kind of have to go through the paddles to get your finger to the turn signal. And there are so many times when I am trying to hit the turn signal and all I'm getting is massive paddle. It would be something you would get used to, but it is a little disorienting when you first get in the car. There's also a little bit of wind noise and a little bit of road noise. It's moderate, I would say. It's not particularly quiet, it's not particularly loud, but for a $60,000 car, it's a decent amount of noise. And another thing about this car is that when you get in it, instead of waiting for your phone to connect to play music, it just starts playing whatever is on with the volume. And so when I got in this car, it was just on like a random FM radio station that's static. There was nothing on it. And so every time I get in, while I am waiting for my phone to connect, it's just like really loud. And it's super interesting because in an era where pretty much everyone's gonna listen to music on their phone, it's odd to just have that FM turn on. So I would recommend, if you do buy this car, make sure that you have the FM station or the AM station or whatever set on a station that you like, because if you don't, you're gonna get a lot of static. Now let's talk about the actual driving dynamics of this car. You might have just noticed while I was talking about something else, I went through a decreasing radius corner. So this corner tightens up toward the end of it. And toward the end of it, I was like, oh, I'm not steering enough. And there's a lot of weight shift going on here. That's just the nature of this car. It is very, very understeery. And I feel kind of top heavy up here. I'm sliding around quite a bit. And the brakes just aren't pinpoint perfect great. They're actually kind of non-responsive. The brakes aren't super great in terms of stopping power. And so when I was going through that corner, it is a lot to handle actually in this car. But this car has 3 driving modes. You have dynamic, natural, and advanced efficiency. And basically, this is just a fancy way to say normal driving modes. It's just meant to spell out DNA. Dynamic is sport mode. It makes your steering response and your throttle response faster, and it also changes the shift mapping to make it more aggressive. Natural is normal driving mode, basically. You're balancing sportiness with efficiency, so it wants to give you a decent throttle response and stuff like that without just absolutely wasting gas. And A is advanced efficiency. It's basically eco mode. You're gonna throttle slower, you're gonna save more gas. Yay! The steering ratio in this car is great, especially for the compact SUV segment. You typically just do not run into a lot of compact SUVs that have really quick and good steering. Look at that. I mean, wow. But as you'll notice right there, as I'm just demonstrating the quick steering ratio, there's so much weight shift in the car. I'm going like this. In this car, you have a lot of side-to-side weight shift, and you also have a lot of forward weight shift when you hit the brakes. So, ooh. That nose dives forward when I hit the brakes. And I mean, it's a crossover, you know, you're gonna get that. But it also makes corners a little bit sketchy in this car, especially low speed corners, high speed corners too even. I mean, there's so much weight shift and so much understeer that I cannot attack this road in the way that I normally would. And I wouldn't even say I normally attack this road. I just drive it a little quickly, right? I can't really do that because I am wrestling the car. And I do think there's a little bit of fun in that, because sometimes you just want to wrestle a car a little bit because cars are so easy to drive these days. But holy cow, the weight shift in corners in this car is wild. Another thing that I need to mention is when you are braking in this car, because of the weight shift, you need to make sure that you are braking in a straight line. If you are braking while the wheel is turned, or if you are braking mid-corner because you need some extra braking, this car is going to shift and slide a little bit. I think there are ways to have a lot of fun in a normal Stelvio. I would honestly take this thing out on dirt, and I would take it out on snow anytime and just whip it around, especially given the fact that it understeers sometimes and oversteers other times due to the weight shift. But out here on a road like this, it does feel a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. High speed corners, you just have so much weight shift that it actually oversteers a little bit. Low speed corners, ooh, understeer. And then you have that forward brake dive, but also the brakes don't stop you super well. So you're diving forward, but you're also not stopping as much as you want to. And I'm out here on this road, and I do feel like I am just wrestling this car around, which I don't feel in a lot of sports cars that I bring out here. And I brought the Stelvio Veloce out here because Alfa talks about the fact that this car shares the Giorgio platform with the Giulia. And the Giulia Quadrifoglio is one of my favorite cars on earth. I think this car has the right amount of sport and the right amount of beauty for a lot of people. But if you are a hardcore go out to the good roads, go out to the racetrack kind of person, you will find that just the amount of wrestling you have to do at certain speeds in this car does make it a little sketchy in certain corners, right? I may seem like I'm being a little harsh about the Stelvio in this driving segment, but I don't mean for it to sound harsh. I think this is a beautiful car. It's very comfortable. And when people see you in the city in this car, because it is so rare and it is so pretty, they will go, wow, you have taste. I mean, I'm driving around in a green Alfa Romeo. It's stunning. But I also think when I'm doing a review, I have to make a decision. Do I want to just show you what it's like to be comfortable in this car? Or do I also want to show you what it's like to take it out and whip it around and have some fun? And I think for a car like the Alfa Romeo Stelvio and for an audience like y'all, it's important for me to take this out here and tell you what it's really like. I think this is a really cool car. And in 20 years, especially with the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, we will all be looking at these things on the used market and going, I cannot believe we got that. That is such a silly car, and that is so cool. And I think it will really, really become a darling on the used market. And we'll all just look back at a time where we got a fun, silly, sporty SUV, even when in the lower variants, it's got a little bit of weight shift. Now that we have quite literally just driven the 2025 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce, it's time to give it a grade. Welcome to Alanis's report card. The exterior on this car gets an A. It's stunning. It's got that Alfa Romeo classic front end, and when you drive up in this car, people will go, oh, you have taste. The interior, however, is a B-. I think it's fine in there, but the styling is a little bit dated, a little bit 2010s. The good thing is there's not a lot of piano black at all. The bad thing is that touchscreen is rough and takes a little bit of time to respond. The performance also gets a B-, and I'm grading this on a curve because we usually do not bring SUVs out to the good road, but because this car is known to be really sporty, we wanted to bring it out here. I think the performance is decent around town. When you bring it out on the good road, though, you do see the flaws. The value on this car gets a C+, and that is just because it's a $60,000 car with about a $40,000 interior, and so it's not the best in terms of interior comfort and just feeling like you bought a $60,000 car when you're inside of it. Would I take it on a road trip? Absolutely, I would. It is decently comfortable in there. The only caveat I will mention is that it gets 24 miles per gallon combined, so not the best. And overall, this car gets a B-. It's stunning. It has some really good bones to work with, but there are a few issues that bring it down. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio is a cool car with an even cooler mission. It came to America with the goal of giving crossover buyers something with a personality, and it did, especially in quadrifoglio form. Do I think this Stelvio is a $60,000 car? Probably not with that interior. But do I think it rocks? Yeah, I do. I also think as time goes on and these become absolute darlings on the used market, we will all start to see that.